Daniel,
Yes, sir.
tell me about your favorite band, the Arctic Monkeys.
Yeah, dude, I actually and genuinely mean this. I like the Arctic Monkeys. I'm an Arctic Monkeys fan. When you asked me to come back on the podcast, I was like, this is going to be a lot of fun. That's immediately my first thought. And I'm not going to lie, Josh, I was very underwhelmed with this album. And
Really?
I have a personal tie to it historically in my life. And I don't know, dude. It just fucking all the songs at one point. I've probably listened to the album 10 times, and I would
Okay.
say there's songs that I fucking love now that I didn't really get into before. And then
Yeah.
there is also a lot of feeling of like, man, this album all sounds the same. It all is this.
Yeah, it's very the same wavelength throughout
For
the whole
this to
thing.
be above the album AM blows my mind because I genuinely love the album AM, and I think there's a lot of varying like songs on it. There's a lot, you got a lot of different moods on it. This one's just like fucking a guy came in your house, was like, and you're like, all right, God, dude, fucking
Jeez,
chill
stop
out.
being so aggressive, dude. Jesus. I'll buy you a drink.
Yeah, all right. But I get, because they're like, this is young man rock. This is
Yes.
like dudes in their 20s that don't wake up hungover rock.
Yeah. Yeah, it's this. I mean, the whole album, I think, is all about just like being like 19 years old in London or South London or wherever the fuck they put this together.
They should mail a pack of cigarettes to everyone that bought this album. Just like, there you go, smoke these.
Here's a Guinness. Here's a pack of smokes.
You're good to
Enjoy.
go.
Go
You're
fight
good
some
to-
soccer hooligans and just have a nice time in the loo.
In Dan's
In the loo.
defense, AM
Yeah.
hadn't been recorded yet. This is the 2000.
No, I know. AM came out in 2014.
Yeah, 13.
Yeah, it's 2000. No, I worked at KFMA when this album came out, and we played I Bet You Look Good on the Dance Floor. That was like an actual, like, I guess they would call it a power record in the radio programming community. But we played, I had the new music test department on Sunday nights from 8 to 10 that I inherited from Greg Rampage USA. Shout out to Gregor. Still working
Rampage, late night.
But now he goes under the name Gregor, and he's up in Seattle at the end. But we would like listen to all these, we'd get albums. This is how broke I was when I lived in Tucson. I worked at KFMA. I was getting, hour rates. I was working at Bed Bath and Beyond during the day to save up to move out to New York City. And then I would, do stand up on the weekends, like in Albuquerque and in casino gigs and shit. So they would send us albums and then we would rip it into our computer. But then we just had like this, like
physical copy.
Yeah, we got a physical copy of whatever people say. That's what I'm not. Like, I think in 2005, before it came out in January of 2006, around the beginning of 2006.
Yeah.
But we had a physical copy in 05 with the barcode hole punched out. So that's how you would get it. You get like a full album, and it was for the radio stations to pick if they wanted songs or not. It's when radio mattered still a little bit. But I remember I Bet You Look Good on the Dance Floor, and then we would play on the test department. A song that I love was Fake Tales of San Francisco.
Yeah.
I was like, this song fucking rules.
Right.
And we would play it. You'd try not to play the new music too much because you don't want to get people sick of it, but we'd play it at least once a week, which was like on Sundays. It was not even, I think, a single that they released. So the album, I got kind of into it. But then I sold it because I was so broke. I would get these stacks of albums and I would put them in this box in the back of my Dodge Stratus. And then when it would fill up, I would go to Zia's, this record store in Tucson, and I would give them it. And they'd be like, you can look around the store. And then I'd come back and they'd be like, do you want $250 store credit or $115 cash?
I was hoping you were going to be saying, like, I'd park my car, people would come up, be like, all right, man, I got
I was Jay-Z in it.
Sixpence None the Richer. You want some Sixpence None the Richer?
What you want? I got that new Kings of Leon. What you like? You don't even know them yet.
You know about Sex is on Fire? Oh, I got you. All right, put these on.
We'd have like Ben Lee albums. It was just like, you'd have stuff that no one knew or cared about.
Yeah.
And then, I probably gave up a lot of great albums just by selling it for smokes and booze money.
Sure.
When I lived in
I had a very similar situation because I was a music director for, I don't even remember Channel 1 News. It used to be piped into middle schools
Yes,
and high
I
schools.
went to middle school. That was Channel 1 News was the shit.
Yeah, dude. It was the only channel, Channel 1, dude.
Yeah,
I was
who went from there? There was like a couple people that got launched off that
Alexander
are like,
Marquardt, who's on CNN. He's like
yes.
the Middle East dude, and I still keep in touch with him because I just thought,
Wait,
he has a
what year did you work at Channel 1?
2007. I got hired in November of 2006, and that was the last job I had before I moved to LA. And
Damn.
and it's actually funny because this came out right as I was graduating from college in 2006, and then I went to London to do an internship for Radio 1, and I was there for about a month, and the Arctic Monkeys was everywhere. I mean,
Really?
everywhere, dude. It was the biggest band, like I remember every publication, because they're like so thick with all like the Star Magazine and all that
Oh, and
kind of shit.
yeah,
It was
FMQB.
yeah. It was everywhere. NME on every fucking city corner. There was a poster of Arctic Monkeys in that album cover, which got me into it. And I
Yeah.
almost went to go see them live, but instead I chose to go to a rave and do coke and Molly. So,
Well, fucking you live
Priorities.
once and
Yeah.
whatever. And I'll
But
tell you, someone that's listening to the album years later, I think you made the right choice.
oh,
No, they were, I think I didn't realize how big they were because they didn't blow up. I mean, KFMA was baby K-Rock. So it was basically like very similarly programmed to how K-Rock in LA was. And then they were just kind of like a song we would play once in a while, but they weren't like, I think Cold War Kids were bigger than them at that
yeah,
time.
in
Like
America,
Cold
for
War
sure.
Kids were fucking everywhere at that point.
Well, that's the difference between America and fucking England, because, and I've said this on the podcast before, but while I was there, Arctic Monkeys were the biggest band in London. The second biggest was the Raconteurs.
Yeah.
So I mean, in America, people are like, well, the fucking Raconteurs, they're steady as she goes, and no one gives a fuck about anything else.
Yeah, no one cared about Level, which was a great song.
Great song, dude. The blue, whatever the fuck it's called, My Blue Veins. I mean,
Oh yeah, dude.
it was a great record, but there's an appreciation in England for the music because it's like they care about punk, they care about new wave, they care about music so much more than we do. And you can see it here in America now because it's literally just people putting out the same hip hop song over and over and over. And then
Yeah.
these great guitar bands are just being pushed to the wayside.
Man, I mean, I can't even think of what's the last great guitar band probably in the last 5 years that's came out.
Fuck.
Greta Van Fleet, but even them, weren't they like?
They got shit on, dude. They're
I
like
know,
gone
that's what I
already.
meing. Weren't they like really big? I'm not real familiar
Come
with
out
them.
of my
Weren't they?
window, girl. Gotta know I like you so hard. Come out of my. That song was such a ripoff of everything.
I didn't even.
Rock and
Morty,
roll.
did you get into them? Did you ever get
I
into?
saw them at I DJ'd a gig at what was that thing that Dave Grohl did? The Jam, Cal Jam, the new Cal Jam.
Yeah.
And I did that gig, and they were on, and I watched them while I was buying my kid a T-shirt. It's just so derivative of Zeppelin.
Yeah,
beyond, like,
that's what everyone. I read an article and they were like, "These guys are Zeppelin,"
kids,
and then
they're kids and they're like brothers or shit. And so that's always like, Kings of
people
Leon
love that
to
shit
me,
though.
they're not Kings of Leon. Kings of Leon to me is incredibly talented.
Yeah, like what's
first
funny
record?
about that is when you get that. I think music is very similar to comedy in that specific aspect of when you see someone super hyped up in comedy. Very rarely are you like, oh yeah. No, they're that good. It's such a fucking weird place to get put in, like a Greta Van Fleet, where they're like Zeppelin, and you're like, no, you're not. You got to do the actual thing.
No,
Got to be great. But I wonder if Arctic Monkeys, because the hype up to us, and I mean, again, I worked at a rock station in a fucking 60-second market. It was like Tucson, but it was, we were still kind of reflective of KROQ and what they were doing, and so it was like, oh yeah, I bet you look good on the dance floor, poked through, but by no means did it like dominate in a way that you've seen. Like I worked at KFMA from like 02 to 06, like late 06. And in 2002, White Stripes and Queens of the Stone Age were like ripping. You'd play them once an hour. You'd play like either No One Knows or Go With the Flow or Seven Nation Army or Hardest Button to Button. I was in a cab last night coming home from the stand, and I got Let Go terminated from 92.3. It was K-Rock New York,
Yeah.
back in like '09, no, '07, because they flipped to top 40. And it was weird last night coming home, and since then they have flipped back to alternative. And
No.
now I was driving home
They
last
call
night
you yet?
and they came back from a commercial with Seven Nation Army. And I was like, I was high enough that I was like, this is freaking me out. This is fucking freaking me out. Cause it was like, dude, I would probably say this era of rock music that's why I said there was like a personal connection. Cause this was when I worked in radio. So it was like,
Yeah.
even if I wasn't directly like into the music, it was playing, on the monitors when you're in the studio, or you're like, I've probably back sold the Arctic Monkeys or front sold them so many times with, I bet you look good on the dance floor. All right. And Arctic Monkey, some stupid shit radio joke.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was interesting to get into this album because honestly, I didn't really think of them until AM came out. And then it was Greg Rampage USA. I was visiting him in Seattle, and he's like, dude, gotta listen to the new Arctic Monkeys. Just listen to it. AM. And I was like, all right. And I downloaded it and I listened to it over and over and over.
Also, you have that special connection because Josh Homme worked
Yeah.
on it, and
Hami worked on.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Hami did. He actually sang background vocals on AM in the song Knee Socks, but he produced their album in between that. I'm not sure what that album was in between AM and
I got that one. I know exactly the album you're talking about. The hit single was Brainwash or Brain something. And it
yeah,
was literally just this record
yeah.
again.
That's what everyone said.
I'm pretty sure
That they
Morty's
were
gonna,
like, oh, it's just whatever people say I am. That's what I'm not, part 2.
yeah. And what's cool about this band, and this is just my opinion, because I remember when this came out, I was always so obsessed with British rock. I always have been, and I still think it's the best. And I tried to get into this because everybody else was, and it won the Mercury Music Prize, which I respect that award because a lot of great British bands have won it. And much like you, it was like, I don't know if I like it, but there's moments of it that I fucking love. And then coming back to it now I'm like, oh, I fucking love this record. This is a fun one for me to go through, especially after what we've done recently with the Police, and we did Jefferson Airplane. This was a really, really fun record. I think the Fleece Army is probably going to agree if they've never listened to it. I didn't even listen to AM. I've only listened to Do You Want to Know because I played that at the strip club.
Yeah,
and that was like,
I mean,
did you put that on at the strip club? That poof, bah, poof, and the girls are going,
yeah. But think about trying to play think about trying to play any of these at a strip club, and it's like that's a methed out fucking dance, or it's just like it's like,
but that's all that's left. That's only one.
Because I mean, like, yeah, there's songs that I fucking really got into. There's songs that I didn't know I was gonna like as much as I did, like When the Sun Goes Down. I didn't realize When the Sun Goes Down I was gonna like. That's a song that I'm just gonna continue to listen to.
Yeah,
put it on playlists and shit because I was like, oh, I fucking really like that. That's what's great to go into these albums is you're gonna find those songs.
Oh, for sure.
Because obviously it's an acclaimed album and it's a great album. I was just saying from a personal standpoint, I thought I was going to come out of this like, just got a new top 5 favorite album of all time, and instead I walked away like, I want to listen to AM.
Yeah, well, that's the point, and I think it was between. I remember you were choosing between this and Smashing Pumpkins, and then I was like, you pick one, because either way, I think it would have been fun to have you on either one of these records, because they're both kind of like foo-foo, and they're both kind of like, they're emotional in their way, but I figured you could have more fun as the white Mike Winslow with making fun of the British accents.
I mean, dude, this entire energy of this album is wake up on a couch in jeans. Like the entire energy of this is just like, like you're just up and it's like, oh, we've got fucking weird sausages that we're cooking on a grill, and you're just like, you're drinking dark ale at 8 a.m. It's like absolutely what this is, which I like. But now that I don't drink anymore, I don't think I can connect to it the way I would have been able to.
But what we're gonna do today is we're gonna connect with that old self of yours. Because we got a lot of questions about this. Me and Morty have whipped up some real fun shit. So before we get into all that and dig into the record, Morty, why don't you catch us up? Because from what I know about this band, other than them being one of the biggest bands in British rock history, if I'm not mistaken, they were like fucking 12.
Yep.
So I know that's wrong, but hit me.
So I'll get you. So released on January 23rd, 2006 on Domino Records and produced by Jim Abyss. This is the debut studio album by the British indie alternative post-punk and garage rock revival rock group. Alex Turner and Matt Helders were childhood friends, neighbors, and schoolmates in the South Yorkshire city of Sheffield in northern England. They met Andy Nicholson in secondary school, and the three, like many of their contemporaries who were mostly enamored by rappers, would hang out and try to make hip hop beats. That changed.
So do you want to listen to some Eric B and Rakim? No,
I got a lot of. I don't know if you was listening to it, but the Wu-Tang Clan is back at it again.
I'm protecting my neck, man. I'm protecting
Oh
my
yeah.
neck.
I don't know if you know about this, but cream, cash rules everything around me, and it's also delicious in certain teas.
It's delicious. Hold on.
I can't listen to rock and roll.
Oh, God save the Queen and Inspector Deck. All right, hit it this morning.
Okay. Well, that changed significantly after they heard the Strokes in 2001, and they soon formed an instrumental rock band with Alex on guitar, Matt on drums, Andy on bass, and another neighbor, Jamie Cook, on second guitar. After no one stepped up to sing, they elected Alex as lead vocalist because of his verbal dexterity. The next year, Arctic Monkeys were born, and a year later, they were playing gigs. After recording and giving away demo CDs at shows that were copied and file shared, they started generating a buzz, but it was a MySpace fan page that really caught attention. And without
There it is.
Yeah, and without
MySpace.
much other promotion.
There it is. There it is.
I loved MySpace.
And without much other promotion, they became one of the earliest successes in the internet era. Eventually, radio and press caught on to their regional popularity, and they put out their own short-run 2-song EP and got signed to the small independent label Domino Records. This was recorded at 1 song a day in the order they would and did appear on the album. So they would go in and literally each day Alex knew exactly how he wanted the album to go, and he recorded it in order from top to bottom.
Really? In one day?
Damn, that is
each
impressive.
day they would do a different song, but just so you know, if they look at the 12 track, they were like first day, number 1, and he knew how this was going to go. So
holy shit, man!
For both of the two pre-album singles went straight to number 1. And to say that the record was a success in Europe is a ridiculous understatement. It's essentially a first-person narrative concept album about the lives of young Northern English working-class nightclubbers. And the spunky and often manic energy of the band playing Turner songs and his decidedly Sheffield dialectal delivery of rapid-fire, hip-hop inspired, witty and wry lyrics that range from stream of consciousness surrealism to the social realism of kitchen sink drama was highly effective because it became, and for now remains, the fastest selling debut album in British history.
Told
Damn,
you.
really?
You, dude. Yeah. This was fucking huge.
That is fucking impressive. That is impressive. And also, like, Marty's explanation of it really helps me put, like, now that I've listened to the album so many times, it makes sense. You know, when sometimes you don't get something and then someone's like, oh, well, it's just this. And you're like, oh, shit, that was intentional? Fuck, this album is, you know, because it's in the top 500. So you're like, how is this album in the top? Oh, there it is.
Yeah. I think it's because and Morty, maybe I'm right or wrong, but I think it's because of 2 things. One, did you have more, by the way? I don't know. Cause you were like, well, all right. Cause they're 19 years old, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have that down there, but
all right, here, go. And then we'll comment. I'm sorry.
So by the way, not just the biggest debut in England ever. In America, it's the second fastest selling independent debut album in history.
Who do you know who the first is?
Juice Newton.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding.
Juice Newton.
Oh, I was like, honestly, I was just gonna keep rolling. I was like,
Police Army people just literally went, I knew it. Playing with the Queen of Hearts.
Dude, Juice Newton. I was like, dude, I hope that guy's okay now. When you said that,
he was an old blues guy, Juice Box Newton.
Yeah.
And so Alex, however, with this album was uncomfortable with the rapid attention and began he was uncomfortable with the rapid attention and being labeled the spokesperson of his generation. So instead of the band doing a lot of record promotion, they opted to quickly follow it up a few months later with a 5-song EP called Who the Fuck Are Arctic Monkeys, which is probably why after, you know, in like, especially with radio markets that you're in, Dan, why they kind of, you know, they never really broke. The first single kind of popped, and then it seemed like they never really did the grind of it. They
Yeah.
just went, fuck it. No, we're so huge. This is weird and freaking me out. In fact,
You know what? That's a great point, Marty, because something that is interesting that I learned working in Tucson, which is like the 60-second market, is you would see these bands before the big push. You would see these bands try to lay down like, because they want to tour. That's where the money is. So they would come to like, we would have bands come and do free shows for us, like Yellow Card, or a band that
Oh
was really
god,
trying to get like
that band was
through and be like,
garbage.
yeah, but they would be like, hey, we'll give away tickets and then your fans can come and we do a radio giveaway. So you're right. They never worked the circuit.
Right.
Arctic Monkeys never came through and did a show or would, even be in Phoenix, which would make sense.
Yeah, and then
With the show that I was gonna go see in England was I want to say it was the Cavern Club or something. It was like this small rinky dink fucking thing. And I mean it was sold out, but I was just gonna go and buy tickets. And then at the
Sure.
bar I was at, I just started blowing lines with these British
Yeah.
guys. So
Well,
you
there you
want
go.
Bumper Charlie? And I was like,
You know
yeah,
what's so funny is you just went and lived the album.
Yeah.
yes.
Like people were like, they invited you to see the album, and you're like, "How about I do that? I'm going to do that next time." Someone's like, "Hey, do you want to go? I'm going to this interactive experience with Pink Floyd's The Wall," and then just drop acid in front of them and go, "I'll beat you there."
It was like I'm just gonna watch war movies and shoot heroin. How about that? Same thing.
I'm numb. I'm numb.
Mother.
But man, that makes sense why they never popped either, is because they never had that support in those fucking weird markets to be
in
like,
America.
here's
Yeah.
the next one from the Arctic Monkeys.
Yeah, it was and not only was Alex freaked out by this, but right after the EP came out, Andy Nicholson, who was the bass player, left due to him being overwhelmed by the fame and success, and he was replaced by
No shit.
Nick O'Malley.
Yeah.
So that's Nick O'Malley carried on pretty much from the second album, the actual album. After the EP,
Yeah.
carried on and has been with them since.
Man, you don't think about that when you are just like this British kid in fucking northern London and you're just like working and it's kind of like with comedy, you're just writing jokes, right? And then all of a sudden one day they're like, hey, there's a chance to do Conan. And you're like, what's up? And they're like, yeah, they're doing a showcase. And you're like, oh, fuck. So I can't imagine just, working. And then you're the fucking fastest selling debut in UK history.
First two
I mean, that's got to be a whip. Yeah.
Before your album's
chart
even
number
out,
one.
your first two singles are number one. So this is
It's too much pressure, man. That's
crazy. Yeah.
That's
And
like
surprisingly, none of them have had like weird fucking going off the rails. Like, I mean, they party probably, but they've had like very like contained lifestyles. It's like all you know them for is just putting out pretty good music. That's it. I mean, that's at what, 19 years old, Morty?
To round it down. So basically, the critics and fans were absolutely right about Alex, though, as the spokesperson. Amongst their ton of recognition, they won Best New Band and Best British Band at the NME and the Brit Awards. And this album also won Best Album at both of those, as well as that year's Mercury Prize and Ivor Novello Award. And even Time Magazine in America called it the Album of the Year. Yeah, no pressure. By the way, when this was made, Alex was 19 and the oldest guy in the band was 20.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh
So
my
along with
God.
constant touring and various band side projects and excursions, they've since put out 5 more studio albums, one that Dan likes more than any of the others.
Yeah, I will go to the mat for that.
Yeah.
And then they became they're the first independent label band to have their first 6 albums go straight to number 1 in the UK.
Good for
Damn.
them.
All 6 of their albums.
So these are like guys that play the O2 Arena, no problem.
They're
Easy.
huge.
In England,
they're like headliners.
Yeah, they're headliners. They're the biggest band in England, even if they're still putting out stuff. Whatever.
What are they doing here? Are they doing theaters, small arenas?
I don't know. I don't know when the last. I mean, it's hard with COVID. I don't know when the last times they were playing, but they were playing. I mean, because I don't think they broke the same here. Because they, especially from the beginning, they've had like, which is good. It's like the Smiths to me. They're a grower band. By the time most people get into them, they've got 6 albums.
Yeah,
which is great.
That's a very fun, and that's always a fun. Yeah, that's a fun thing to do where you find a band you like and then you get to go back and be like, kind of watch how they grow and change.
You don't have to wait.
That was always my favorite. Yeah, that's always a fun thing to find in anything, in a band or a comic or a fucking actor, you know?
I'm pretty sure that they came to LA and played the Staples Center.
Yeah, it seems like the kind of a
Okay.
venue. That's a
They
good size.
New JT, the guy that's doing it, can you look that up for us and find out? Go to set list, Arctic Monkeys set list, and look up fucking the last place they played. Because let's dive into the record because it's fun, dude.
Word.
I mean,
Yeah.
regardless if it's not all of our bags, it's a fun record for a fucking 19-year-old to write. All
It's
right.
incredible. It's
So
incredible knowing that they're 19 and also just kind of like, well, fuck, I don't know. I kind of felt like doing an album. And you're
yeah.
like, yeah, you guys made, holy shit, you made a great, yeah.
Should we use this new promo tool called
What?
MySpace? Sure.
Hey, me brother's little sister was on MySpace saying we should dink around and put one of them tunes up there.
Hey,
Oh
Alex,
my God, we changed our lives.
Alex, why name your top 8? I'm the bass player, for Christ's sake.
Just so funny to think that they put it up and they go, oh no, our lives are different now. This is the second it uploads. We's all famous and such.
No. What's what got to do with me mother? Oh, I'm gonna take her out of the home and put her in my own tour bus with us.
I wonder if that stopped them, that like being propelled like that to do 6 albums and stay consistent is a near impossibility. Because without
Yeah.
drugs or alcohol, just completely, and fame and money, they went, fuck, man.
And
Fight through all that.
And judging by what this record is about, you would think that they're like hard partying guys. You know what I mean? The whole record's about
If
getting
this
fucked
album,
up.
if this album did okay, I would be like, hey, you guys want to talk? I think you guys are partying a little much.
You gotta chill out, dude. I mean,
Yeah,
you're
you guys
19
wanna
years old, man.
fucking-
You don't want to burn it out too quick,
Come on,
man.
bro. You're burning out of both candles. You're not gonna make 2 albums at this pace. And then he's like, fuck you. I'm gonna do 6 of them.
Just wait till Facebook comes out, and then we're
Oh,
really
you
gonna
don't
take over
even
the
know.
world.
There's a thing coming called Instagram, and I'm gonna show me bum on it.
Yeah. Maybe sell a fit tee, a little tummy tuck kind of tee.
Do you want to grow nicer hair? Have these gummies, these hair gummies.
All
Yeah,
for hymns. All right. So it opens with The View from the Afternoon. This is a record with a lot of similar subject matter, like we've been talking about, running through it. And this captures the excitement before a night out. So Alex explained this is one of the last songs written for the album. There's nothing clever. It's just about anticipating the evening, finding comfort, kill the music, finding comfort in familiarity, and the fact that you're bound to send a daft message or something before the sun comes up. What I found very, very difficult about these songs is how hard it is to understand British people, because I have been singing the wrong lyrics since 2006. So, new JT, play 15 seconds in. Anticipation as a habit to set you up for disappointment in evening entertainment. All right, kill it. For years, I thought he was saying and even entertain the Pope. But what
Okay.
he's saying is for disappointment in evening entertainment. But I mean, in the car, like, even
Whoa.
entertain the Pope. Fucking douche.
Yeah,
Great song.
it
Go
is.
ahead. You have something to say?
Yeah, it's like a Guy Ritchie movie.
Yes. Yes.
But except you can't put captions on.
No.
So I'm just like, I don't know what the fuck this guy's talking about.
I think this is a great way to start the record. Out of all the songs on it, just the way this kicks in, it's super fun. This got me interested in 2006 when this came out. Do you have something? I guess you're about to talk. No?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I'm just listening to you. No, this going into it right now, you see how much more of an entire thing it is, because I think I was kind of coming into this thinking it was pieces, because the song that I loved on the album that I knew of in 2006 was Fake Tales of San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really like I Bet You Look Good on the Dance Floor, because I was like, that's too party-ish, too pop-ish. But Fake Tales of San Francisco, I just loved all of it, and I could kind of understand the lyrics. So then now when you're reading that, I'm like, I don't think I know the lyrics to Fake Tales of San Francisco.
At
I
all,
think I
dude.
only know San Francisco.
This is a record that you need to you need to read the lyrics while you're listening to it because you're singing everything wrong. Dude, I've listened to this record not even just this go round, but in all probably 50, 60 times, and I was blown. I was like, "Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I am
Okay.
way off." It also has this great part right here. New JT, can you play 244?
And she won't be surprised, and she won't be shocked when she's pressed the star after she's pressed the lock. And there's verse and chapters that in her inbox, and all that it says is that you've drank a lot. And you should better imagine that.
I mean, kill it. This is like when you consider that this is a 19-year-old writing this and putting this together. I mean, this is a very mature, even lyrically. It's just this is mature for them.
This is British mature. These are like when you hear their 6-year-olds talk and you're like, why do you have the soul of a 40-year-old? So of course at 19 they can write it like old sailors. They're like they like have reflective lyrics about going out and doing blow and partying.
Yeah. All right. So I want to ask you, what was a normal solid night out for you at 21 years old?
Oh man, I started comedy at 21. So it was like, I would try to do open mics on the Wednesday, and then I would try to go Thursday, Friday, or Saturday to watch the headliner that was
Yeah.
in Tucson. But I just liked I knew I had a problem. I think I knew I had a problem at like 16 with drinking, just because of how I liked to take in booze. It was never like, let's booze and then we're gonna go dance and party. It was like, we're gonna go booze, then we're gonna go to the next place and booze,
Yeah.
and then we'll go to a final place and booze, and then we'll wake up somewhere. So
Yeah.
I don't kind of know what's gonna happen. But my favorite thing was like, by the time 21 hit, I was already comfortable drinking. So I just loved going to bars where I could smoke inside and listening to music. And so that's why this album would have completely been different if I would have listened to it when I was still in Tucson. Just
Yeah.
going to like the Golden Nugget and just getting fucking shit faced and putting like, you know, half this album on the jukebox and just being like, I just want to sit here and get fucked up.
Did you
Just
not know how to drink? Like, because I'm the kind of guy that was like, even right from an early age, it was like I drank too much, so eventually I'd black out, and that was why I needed to do coke, or why I did coke, because at least I could keep drinking throughout the night.
Yeah, blacking out didn't really hit me until near the end of my career. I was just kind of like a guy where things would get foggy, but I wouldn't really black out, but I could just go. I
Yeah,
could just fucking drink because I'd watched it my whole life. And so I was like, oh, I took to
yeah,
it like Ken Griffey Jr.
yeah,
I was like, I'm just
dude.
going to have the smoothest swing and all of
Yeah,
drinking. Just fucking pounding them down. But it was what I liked about it was like I liked the smoking and the drinking and music and talking to people. I didn't like going to loud places and like Fergie playing, and I'm like, I don't know. Like I went to Arizona where you could go to those kind of things, but I liked being in Tucson and being at the comedy club or being at a local bar.
yeah, yeah. Morty, you got anything to
Yeah,
add?
so remember we were talking about the demos they would give out at their shows and then, how it got on file sharing and everything. This is one of the notable exceptions that wasn't re-recorded from the 18 demo songs that they gave out at those shows in 2004 that were collected and then file shared by the fans under the unofficial title Beneath the Boardwalk. But 8 songs on here come from that.
God,
So
that's
like
fucking.
so
Damn.
remember they had like all these fans, cutting edge internet kids who
Yeah.
knew over half this record from the demos prior to the record ever being recorded. And in a lot of regional markets, like we went out with the Verve Pipe before their album
Yeah.
came out, and like everybody in all of Michigan knew the Freshman, but it hadn't
See,
been recorded, right?
that's got to be so cool. The one time I saw that was Josh Homme did Desert Sessions, and
Mhm.
on one of the Desert Sessions, he does a demo of "Make It With You," and then they put that on the 2008 or 2007 album Era Vulgaris. And so it was like when I was listening through the first time, and then "Make It With You" came on, I was like,
I didn't know
"Oh
that,
shit!"
right?
You're like, "Oh fuck!" They put that on this, and it was
Yeah,
so exciting. So I can't imagine how exciting it was for Arctic Monkeys fans to kind of know the demos, and then the big album
Right.
comes out, and you're like, 8 of these songs are already my favorite
And
songs.
they
that
know
was
the
me with
demo.
Audio
Sorry.
Slaves. That was me with Audio Slave's first record because
Oh, like when
I got it off of like Napster and LimeWire. Well, LimeWire by that point, and I remember it was like I had it on the cassette, and then when they finally dropped the record, I was just every song I was like, "Go and save yourself."
yeah, he's like, I had coaches before they even filmed the video.
Ga, 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 ga,
Yeah,
ga.
but that's always that's part of the file sharing thing that is a positive is you get to connect with, especially in music, connecting with the songs before you see them, because I saw the super group of Dave Grohl, John Paul Jones, and Josh Homme and them Crooked Vultures, and I bought tickets to them at the Electric Factory, name alone.
Mhm.
I mean, you know, obviously I'm a massive Josh Homme fan, so I was like, this is going to be great. I love Dave Grohl, and it's fucking the basis of one of the greatest bands of all time, who also did their arranging. So I
Yeah.
was like, this is going to be incredible. But I went to the Electric Factory and didn't know any of the songs. So it was still fun, but it would have been, had I had like New Fang or Warsaw or like one of the songs
Dead
that they
End
put on the
Friends was my
album.
Dead End Friends used to be my ringtone for a
Really? Yeah,
little
Dead
while.
End Friends was great. There's actually a rumor a month ago they might do another album.
By the
Ooh,
way,
I could
shout
see
out
Yeah,
to
that.
Alan Johannes, the guitar player in the band,
Yes.
and from 11.
Alan Johannes,
Yeah,
dude, he's fucking
and
incredible.
played with
He
Chris
wrote,
Cornell forever, and produced him with his sadly Natasha, who they were friends, but who passed away.
yeah.
But yeah, produced a Chris Cornell record also. The
Yeah,
Saturday
Alan
morning.
Johannes did he wrote one of the songs on Lullabies to Paralyze. I think he wrote like Long Slow Goodbye.
Yeah, he's
I just
Getting
remember
ready
that
for
from
incredibly
this, getting
talented.
ready for this podcast, Dan, because I know how much of a big Queens of the Stone Age fan you are. I've been really on a real fucking Quatza kick, bro.
yeah.
I'm really pumping it. Working out in the driveway. Little sister, can you?
Yeah, dude.
I'm into
I mean,
it.
that's a band where it, you know, that's how I got into the Arctic Monkeys again, was because of their close affiliation, because I think they recorded AM at Rancho de la Luna in California. So that was like, because when they had Josh Homme produce it, I was like, oh shit, it's kind of like when, you know, like rappers do albums where you're like, you into Method Man and then you learn about Redman and then you
Yeah.
get into like, you just keep going down that where you're like, you find all the stuff they do. And I always like that in music where you just kind of branch out and be like, oh fuck yeah, I learned about this band through this guy.
It's the same thing with comics, man. It's
Yeah.
like the good comics like flock together, and so it's like usually it's like you, or even like a younger comic that's opening for a bigger comic is usually a friend or somebody they fuck with,
Yeah,
and they
sure.
bring him, and then you're like, oh shit, I like this guy now. So it's all vouching.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, you know, not even realizing that I didn't even realize the Arctic Monkeys were that big at all.
Yeah,
Like
dude.
until Marty said that, I was just like, yeah, no, they were like probably, oh, they were popular in the UK. I'm sure they were. And then you're like, oh, fuck, they were like,
They were huge.
they were the big shit.
I mean, all
That's
the major
fucking
awards,
wild.
dude. All right, well,
Yeah.
here's one of the songs that made them that, which is the second track. I bet you look good on the dance floor. More lyrics I don't understand. Wait, hold on, new JT, dude, you're coming
Getting it.
quick, bro.
He's getting it though. Hey,
I know
you got to
he's
let Adam get it slowly but surely.
that is,
He's
I'm
going to
gonna
learn
call
the
him new
pacing.
JT throughout the whole thing. All right, new JT. Here's some more lyrics I don't understand. Go.
Montagues are Capulets. Just bumming tunes in DJ section.
All right, kill it. I thought it was banging tunes and DJ sex, but no. And this is one I should have figured out.
Yeah.
Just banging tunes and DJ sets.
Oh, it was Montague and Capulets,
Yeah,
right?
was
I didn't
No,
even.
actually,
Okay,
he was saying
That's great.
fucking
I was like,
Motorhead and
the guy goes, actually,
and
it's not
Catapults.
Montague, it's Mo to Goo. I was like, fuck you, fuck
Motorhead
you.
and file sharing. All right. This energetic first single was also their first number one. It continues the record's main theme of being a young nightclub kid going dancing, drinking, chatting up girlies, and trying to get shagged. There's also parallels between this album and the 77 movie Saturday Night Fever. Both center around young working class men who live for going dancing and trying to get laid. So the movie even has the similar line, "Are you as good in bed as you are on the dance floor?"
Which, by the way, is delivered by
Oh.
Fran Drescher in the movie.
Is it
Oh
really?
yeah, I remember that. She's like, "Are you as good as you like on the dance floor?"
And then he has the best comeback line. He goes dancing with her. She goes, so, like, basically, do you fuck as, like, are you as good as you are? And he goes, if you're as good on the dance floor as you are in bed, then you suck in bed, basically, is what he said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you
But he
have
did it in a real Travolta
Guys,
way of
if
being
you
like,
felt big, hey,
if you fuck like you dance, oh wow.
hey,
Okay, I'm out of here.
where?
hey, you
Your
know
voice
about
is
Zeno?
your voice really gives me a soft wiener.
Did you have any pickup lines, Dan?
No.
Come on.
I mean, that's like such like a 70s and like 80s. Like I don't think I've ever used a line to try to get laid.
A pickup line to me would feel so insincere if you're just like, so do they rain gold turds where you're from? I'm sorry. Can I buy you a drink? I think buy a drink was the only one. That's the only pickup line I ever had. Being like,
What's
hey,
the
can I buy you a drink?
what's the lamest shit you ever did to try to get laid?
Fuck, I don't know.
Comedy?
Comedy?
Yeah.
Dude, stand up. Fucking, I think I took an improv class once. Yeah, I went to one of the corniest I've ever felt trying to get laid was I went to a Dave Matthews Band concert with my friend and a girl, and we were like like 20, 21 or whatever. And then at one point I did the wrap, the arms around the hips, and I just looked over and my friend was holding his beer at his mouth about to take a sip, like in shock. And he was like, no. And I was like, I'm so sorry. It just felt the corniest thing, just like swaying with your hips.
Yeah.
Satellite. This is gonna be us
What
forever.
would you say?
Yeah.
Don't
Dogs down the big road. What's the corniest thing you've ever did?
Oh fuck, man.
You were a club kid, so God only knows.
I
Did you make
mean,
someone their own candy necklace?
bro, I put stickers on my face, worn angel wings, and a
Oh yeah, dude.
311 ball
Anytime
necklace.
you can't talk shit if you're a club kid because you've definitely done a handful of glitter over your face and then like on your pubes to get ready. You're like, I'm gonna fuck.
I think
Hit
that
me.
I think really I think about this one a lot because I met this girl. She went to like one of the rich schools in like North Potomac, which is like where a lot of the senators and everybody live. And I ran into her at I ran into her at an Outback Steakhouse, and I'm like
Nice.
20 and she's probably like 18, and we both have a fake ID. And the whole time I was talking to her, I did like a fake Louisiana accent.
What?
I was just like it was from New Orleans because I wanted I don't know.
Wait, did
So I'm
you
like,
now?
yeah, on the
Let me ask you a
bayou.
question. Did you do did you do the Creole accent, thinking
I
it was
didn't
going to
do
work to
Creole. I
get you
wasn't
laid?
like, and two face oh,
That would be. That's the way. I don't know why you didn't. That's the only way to. What New Orleans accent
It
did you
was
do? Because
like,
I'm expecting you going full gumbo. You know, just like dangle with the wing. You want me to get a gator out the muck?
it was kind of like that. It was like, well, I was, I got a bar mitzvah to DJ this weekend, but maybe
And
we
was
can
she
meet
into
up.
it?
Oh yeah, dude. But here's the thing: is that she was into me.
Wow, my
But
dude, I should have gone full foghorn leghorn on a girl before. Well, my oh my, if it isn't just the nicest dandy I've done ever seen. Can I buy you a libation to cool you off on
how
this
about a
hot summer night?
nice mint julep, and then we can.
She go, oh my God, where are you from? Oh, that's a funny story. Aurora, Colorado.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I'm from right down the street from here. I'm from
oh,
Germantown,
well,
Maryland,
my
right outside of
father had a
Washington,
little bit of
D.C.
You ever seen a mint julep at the right time of day with the sweat on the outside of the glass? Anyways, can I buy you a drink? Yeah. Did you think you were just gonna have to ride out that voice the
Yep.
entire time?
I don't know. I was, you had a couple beers in you. She was so hot, so I didn't think she was going to be into me. Little did I know, she was all about me. And then I remember, like, I called her to set up the date,
Oh,
and
did you have to practice your voice first?
no, I was honest with her. I was like, by the way, that wasn't. She's like, what happened to your accent? And I was like,
Oh my
I was
God.
like,
Oh my God. Oh my God.
it was so embarrassing.
What did you say? What did you say when she
I
said
don't
it?
remember verbatim how it went, but basically she was like, yeah, why would you lie to me?
Yeah.
And I was like,
You know how psychotic that is? If someone's just like one day, they're like, well, bravo, don't know if I'll be going there. The next day they show up and they go, so were you thinking you wanted burgers or tacos? And you're like, what the fuck?
yeah.
I mean, dude, when I worked at Dos Caminos, there was this hostess that this girl did a British accent, right? She would like be like, "Oh, thank you. Oh no, it's all right. Your table just got set." And you'd be like, "Oh, thank you so much." And then a girl from East London started working there, my friend Rose, and she was just like, "Yeah, that girl's not even from London." She like went up to her and she's like, "Are you from London?" And the girl's like, No, I dated a guy and he's from London, and so and she was like, "All right, yeah." It's just like,
Okay.
dude, getting called out like that by someone that has that accent has to be mortifying.
Don't you ever do that? Like, don't you? Sometimes I do that when I go to like a store or something, and I know I'm never going to see these people, and I just do an accent.
One time I did that. One time, and I committed Daniel Day-Lewis style. For my 21st birthday, I cut my eye open. I fell and I had 14 stitches above my eye.
Yeah.
But I had road rash all down the side of my face because I fucking came down a flight of stairs and hit my head and dragged a little bit on the landing. And we went to this beer festival in Fort Collins, me and my buddy Joey, and there was this like these three people from the mountains, and I was just doing a Russian accent the whole time, saying I was a Russian MMA fighter because it was like 2000 and I think it was like 2004, so MMA wasn't even huge.
Yeah.
So you could lie a lot about it. It's like, this happened, the man hit me in my face. This doctor say they will heal. And then I was just getting drunker and drunker. And finally, at the end, they were walking away. I was like, I'm from Aurora. And they're like, what? What?
Do you remember before the fucking internet, before cell phones, you could just lie and get away?
Lie? Oh, you could leave your family, Joshua.
Dude,
you could just leave your family.
We used to do this at
no one could
sporting
find
events
you.
when we were at places where there's a lot of people. Me and my friend Greg would go into urinals. Like I'd go to one urinal, he'd go to another one, very close to each other, and we act like we didn't know each other. And there'd always be people around, and I'd go, "God, I can't believe about Harrison Ford." And he'd be like, "Oh yeah, man, I can't believe that either." And then somebody would go, "Wait, what's going on?" I'd be like, "He died, man. Harrison Ford died. He was in a plane crash on his way to Indiana Jones Part 4." And they'd be like, "What?" And then you just hear people start talking about it, and then it would like spread.
What a great pre-internet prank.
We used to do that. We used to do it when we were in like, if we were around a lot of black people, we'd do Eddie Murphy.
Damn, this is mean.
It is, but you know.
Dude, there's someone that got all the way home and like was like told their wife, like, Eddie Murphy passed away. She's like, shut up. No, he didn't.
Some guy said to us one time, he's like, "God, I can't believe," he's like, "fucking Harrison Ford." He's like, "Dude, I had a 6 days, 7 nights poster on my wall for years." And I was like, "That out of all the movies?"
That's the one? I'm an Anne Heche guy, you know? I'm a real big Anne Heche guy. I like when those two team up. I think it's fucking lightning in a bottle.
All right, let's move on to Fake Tales of San Francisco. This is my favorite part on the record up until this point. New JT, go ahead. This fucking rips, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is a great song. This is a really great song. I can kill it because it keeps going. Peter, when you're editing it, let the song play a little bit longer. It's just fucking incredible. This is one of the first songs they recorded off those early demos. Alex is calling out a band that brags and lies. That's so funny. We were just talking about lying, about having gone to America. Wow. Great. I fucking love this song. This is one of the ones that you played at KTP7. What is it called?
Dude, KFMA. First off, number one, Tucson's new rock, KFMA. Shout out to KFMA Day, largest outdoor concert in the Southwest, with such bands as Foo Fighters and Metallica. So just fucking slow your roll. Number two, love this song because you can't really understand the lyrics, but then you do get some of them. And I just love the part where he's like, "You're not from San Francisco. You've never been to San Francisco. You're not from New York City." And what's crazy about that is, and Josh, you know, I'm a huge San Francisco 49ers fan. Love the San Francisco Giants. My dad is from the Bay Area. My grandmother still lives out in Northern California. And my whole dad's family's from San Francisco. I never lived there. And so I love this song is that I grew up in Denver loving the 49ers. And my dad's half brother lived in Colorado and took me to Bronco games, and I never defected. And I just remember one time he just went, "You've never even lived there." And I was like, "Ow, oh, dude." But that's kind of how this song feels, you know? He's like, "You're not even fucking from New York City. You're from fucking," what does he say? Rockland. Is it Rockland?
Morty, what do you have the?
No, I don't have
does
the
anybody-
lyrics. Sorry, I don't have the
You don't have
lyrics.
the lyrics.
Hold
Does
on,
it-
I got them right here, and you're not from New York City. You're from Rotherham. Rotherham.
Yeah.
Rotham. You're from yeah, that makes sense. You're from Rotham. But I felt like that where I was like, I'm not from San Francisco, but I still love a lot about it.
What's the most ridiculous lie you've ever told?
Oh shit, man. I remember me and my this is so stupid. Me and my friends, when we were 15, 16 years old, my friend's cousin was getting married in Mexico. So his whole family rented this like house. And they were like, do you want to come with us down to Mexico? We were all 16 years old. And so we could drink down in Mexico.
Yeah.
So we go down to Mexico. And it's just like 16-year-old boys just at a bar drinking. And we were in Cancun. We'd go to Cancun, but then there was this town outside of Cancun that was, just straight up Mexico. And they're like, who the fuck are these güeros just walking around, these gringos getting fucking hammered? And so I could tell that there was a little bit of heat at the bar. This is so fucking stupid. And the fact that I said this is crazy. But there was like 3 guys at the bar drinking, and one of them spoke English, and I was buying drinks and he was hammered, and he's like, what's up? Who are you? Like, where are you guys from or whatever? And I was just fucking hammered at 16. And I was like, we're the junior Olympic kickboxing team. I was like, we're all kickboxers, and we're the junior Olympic kickboxing team. And I didn't tell all of my friends that I said this lie. So this little Mexican dude walks up to my friend Joel, and he's just going like, hey, yeah, like kicking us. That's you. Like point, and Joel's like, yeah. Like doing kicks and punches with him, not knowing what the fuck he's talking about. What a dumb lie. What a dumb. But that's 100% true, and I got 5 guys that'll back me that I fucking did that. And by the way, didn't do it just one night. Did it anytime we were at a local bar and I thought shit was sketch. I was like, uh-oh, time to best of the best these motherfuckers.
Don't make me put fucking glue on my hands and put glass on the gloves.
Dude, you don't even want it. I will wear the gloves where the hands are open and then covered on the back. I will go full. Yeah, dude. It was it worked though. So,
Good for you, dude.
I can't believe I haven't thought of that. Dude, I haven't thought of that in 15 years. I swear to God, I haven't thought of that fucking dumb lie in 15 years.
Dude, we're gonna go deeper into the youthful stuff, dude. Morty, you got anything else about this song?
You probably know this one more than any. It was a radio only single in America, and it got played on modern rock radio. Although it failed to chart, but it got really popular because when you mention a hip city, American fans get really into it, and I'm sure that
we're idiots.
That was the big sell point, is they like rah rah rah. And so when they came to America, the fact that they mentioned San Francisco already, despite it being what it's about, they were really excited.
Oh, absolutely. And I bet man, that is because that was the single we played, and it was that, and I bet you look good on the dance floor, and that's really all we heard of them.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't play fucking When the Sun Goes Down, which we'll get to, because that's such a good song, man.
Whew,
and
that's a great song.
Morty, I know we've talked about different bands and about the modal sections. Like that one feels like it was written in parts, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Because next one's Dancing Shoes. Another great song. Let's move on to You Probably Couldn't See for the Lights, but You Were Staring Straight at Me. So I just want to skip the song because it's okay. It's kind of filler for me, but this is Alex going all fanboy about the singer in the band, the Little Flames, who he liked. While he was on stage making eye contact with him in the crowd, he realized that she was blinded by the stage lights and had no idea the effect it had on him and countless other wannabe suitors. So I just wanted to ask you this. That's why I brought up this song. Who was your first famous crush?
Shit. Miss Elizabeth.
Really?
Yeah, as a wrestling fan.
Oh,
she was the first lady where I was
so
like,
cute.
yeah. But no, I would maybe Kelly Kapowski. There was like, I'm talking about real little, where I was like, oh yeah, that's the prettiest girl. But I didn't, there's all these people that have cool stories about falling in love with like front women or like cool rock and roll chicks. But in my house, it was all single mom rock. So it was all like Bonnie Raitt and like, stuff where I wasn't getting
Melissa
like,
Etheridge.
yeah, exactly. It was all
dude.
like fuck my ex-husband energy. And so I wasn't getting a lot of like party stuff. But yeah, I would probably say my earliest crush actually was my earliest crush. I think was my parents' friend's wife. And when you're like 5 years old, you just act weird, and they're just
Yeah.
like, "Why is he being all weird around you?" And you're like, "Because when that lady comes over, I get real fucking. I don't know. It feels like all my stuff in me burns." Yeah, I was like, I don't know. Who was your first crush?
Well, I dropped silly putty on the floor and it's stuck to the ground, and I think my dog's gonna eat it. Get the fuck away,
I would almost say, please put the camera on that.
I hope that was a euphemism. God, please don't.
Yeah.
Well, I have silly putty because I don't like vape as much, and I just squeeze it. But it's like I've been working it so much, it's not even like a putty anymore. It's more of like a sludge, and it's like it's on the ground, like smeared, like sticky diarrhea.
Yeah.
My first. So if you're talking about my mom's friends, I'd say Eileen Miles.
Shout out Eileen.
She was so cute. She was hot, and she was dating this guy Dan, who 100% was like just fucking using her for the place to live. Because he used to do BMX jumps with us. He was drunk all the time, smoking weed. We're fucking like 10, 11, 12, and we thought Dan was the coolest guy in the world. But
Sounds like it.
He was dogging her out, man. Probably cheating on her. Fucking just. It's like probably beating her. Who knows? He was just a bad dude. But my first real crush that I really remember was Punky Brewster. Fucking Soil Moon Frye. But like right around when I started like getting boners was the time that she was on Wonder Years, and she had those huge titties.
Yeah.
Huge titties.
Yeah. Did you watch Kid 90 on Hulu?
You really
I didn't.
Should.
No.
You really
It's
should.
fantastic.
Yeah.
There's a whole section
just from that sentence alone.
Yeah, exactly.
You will love it.
Oh, Morty, who was your first crush? Because you're like 10 years older than me.
I just marry your guys' crushes. No,
that's hilarious.
No, I ended up liking. I'm older than you guys. I ended up liking women that tended to become lesbians later in life. For some reason, I was attracted to that, Tom. Because when you're young, you're attracted to just like soft boys, kind of.
Sure.
You like a chick, but she's got to be just like a dude to you. So it was Jodie Foster from like Candle Shoe when I was little.
Yeah.
Okay. Then it was Christy McNichol, and then Joan Jett. I just picked them. Like I look back now and I go, "There's a trend."
He's like Marsha Warfield.
Yeah, there's like a. I was going like.
He's Rosie O'Donnell, big Rosie O'Donnell guy.
Me in West Hollywood, and I'll get home. Just,
yeah.
No, so it was really weird that I would look back on like all of them, and I was like trying to find. I think maybe Olivia Newton-John was the first feminine. Like around Grease was the first feminine.
Okay.
But everybody else from then, I just go, wow, I had a thing.
I'd catch a roller derby on a Saturday morning and just beat it till I was drained.
It's like, God, I'm attracted to Ellen Page. Fucking Cher's daughter.
It's like I like a lady with some grease on her hands.
Yeah. All right, still take you home. Track 6. I know it's shocking, but Alex is once again in the club, and this time trying to get with another girl who, despite him knowing is not all that would. Let's take that again. And despite him knowing it, she's not all that would make him. This is Morty. Sorry, buddy.
No,
all right, let me take this whole thing again. All right, I know it's shocking, but Alex is once again in the club, and this time trying to get with another girl who, despite him knowing, is not all that would make the perfect miss right now. Then the kicker is they hook up, and he sees her a year later, and despite him having talked shit about her, he's offended that she doesn't remember him. This part might be my favorite moment on the entire record. New JT, play it.
Oh, you don't know nothing. I fancy you with a passion. You're a top-shop princess, a rock star too. But you're a bad, you're a passion. And I'm having a job trying to talk to you, but it's alright.
I think this is it right here. Who gives a shit?
Man, imagine the sets of teeth this guy's kissed.
Have you ever forgotten somebody that you've hooked up with?
Have I forgotten them?
Yeah, or have they forgotten you? Either
I've been
way,
forgotten. I've been forgotten, which
tell me
does
about
hurt.
that.
You're like, "Oh, well, fuck you. It didn't even happen." It was, I think it was like college, just blackout with one of a friends, like a
Yeah.
girlfriend, and then you're like, "What? No? Alright." 'Cause you bring it up, like, months later in, like, a big emotional scene, and you'll be like, "What?" You're like, "Oh, yeah." She's like, "I don't even remember that." You're like, "Oh, fuck you." I didn't either. I definitely didn't put it to music in my head. I definitely didn't score it with fuck you, with a burn CD. Fuck you.
I didn't make you a playlist. No, this
I
is
didn't look back to it with fond greatness. Have you ever like been like accosted by someone?
Yes, yes.
Well, you're a rave kid, so I mean, there's
So
if you don't have the blinking lights and the fucking steam machines.
this is one of those stories that it still blows my mind. So I never liked crystal meth, but I did it
Oh,
sick
cool.
but I did it
That's always a way to start a sentence.
but no, but I did it 6 times. And one time I just remember I was at this isn't even I forgot. This is just funny about forgetting how I ended up like this. There was this blonde chick at Sonar that used to follow around me and my buddy Evan, and she was kind of annoying. And I could tell she liked me, but I was just like, I'm not really into her. And I remember that I couldn't find any coke. So Evan, as Evan's friend, gave me a little bit of meth. I went to the bathroom. I did a bump of meth, and then I
Jesus.
walked out, and I just don't remember anything until I wake up in my bedroom, and I'm on my knees on the bed, and there's a head in between my legs, and it's the blonde chick. And I'm not gonna say what we were doing, but you can imagine it was
Was
just
she
like
munching butt?
no, like like skull fucking
Oh,
somebody's
wow.
mouth. And
What
I
a
mean, I
meth approach. What
and
a
I
meth
came
approach to oral sex.
and I came to like, huh?
Yeah. Ah,
But
ah.
she was really into it,
And then
and
she was like, "What's wrong? What's
what,
wrong? What's
what's up?
wrong? What's going on, Josh?
You good? We're
You
good.
all
Got
right?"
you going?
And you go, "Yeah, I just don't know how I got in this position. Hold on, I didn't mean to bulldog you like this." Oh man, that is waking up out of a drug thing like that has to be terrifying.
Oh, it
You're
was
just
the
like,
scariest thing.
huh?
And then I had to go to college. I had to go to Cal State University, and I had to finish a paper that was
Oh,
due like later that day. And luckily the meth was in use, so I was just like just writing just a bunch of run-on sentences.
oh. And then your professor's like, Josh, your argument was very eloquent, but I did not ask you to write about why picking scabs is a good thing.
How to
Like
take
she's
apart
fucking.
a Super Nintendo and put it back together in 3
When I was in high
movements.
school, my friend did crystal meth, and then I swear to God, he wrote an AP geography paper. He was just like our smartest friend who also did all the drugs.
Some people could do that. I used to
Yeah,
date a girl that would did a lot of coke because she could get her homework done in college that way.
damn.
I'm not a speed guy. I
No,
did like when I drank, but that was only when I drank. But then as I've gotten older, I'm like, nah, not
yeah,
my
you're
thing.
like, no thanks, no
Also, I
thanks
don't
to
have
that.
papers to write anymore.
Yeah, having papers was a real good way to do speed.
Yes,
That made you feel better.
for sure. All right, Riot Van. This is like the first ballad on the record. Let's get to "Red Light Indicates Doors Are Secured." Another lyric I got wrong. A new JT or new Peter because you're both of them today. Play 35 seconds in, dude.
Didn't you see she was gorgeous? She was beyond belief. But this lad at the side drinking this man of ice came and paid for a tropical reef. And I'm sitting
All right, kill
going,
it. I thought it was saying drinking or really I don't even know if it was drinking, but I thought it was Ishmael and wine. It's
Okay,
she's drinking his Smirnoff Ice,
weird,
which also
weird
like
product placement for an album.
yeah, but it also is like this really dates the record. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
With dropping like, because we're having a couple of Zimas and we're drinking some bottles of James.
Enjoying some Bud Ice. Everyone knows. Yeah, Smirnoff Ice appearing in this album. I had zero clue,
Yeah.
zero clue that it was a lyric.
All right, so this is another night out of the town drinking with the lads being recounted in the taxi on the way home. And after a thought about ditching it without paying, realizing that can't happen because the title means the doors are locked.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, like, what's the craziest night out you've ever had partying?
Ooh. I don't know. A lot of them, I think because of weed, I've forgotten, but I just always knew it was going to be a real problem when I would finish. Joe DeRosa introduced like a bunch of comics at this bar called Barcelona Bar on 8th Avenue. It's literally just a bar in a room. It's not, there's like, that's it. There's bathrooms in the back and it's a bar that's the size of the room on 8th Avenue. And comics with me, Nate Bargatze, Joe List, DeRosa, everyone, Al Jackson, everyone kind of knew to go there to drink. And we got in real tight with the staff. And then there was just, you know, there'd be nights where you would finish at like Broadway Comedy Club, walk up there at 1 a.m. and they'd be like, hey, we're open for another hour. Then we're going to lock the door and everyone can stay inside. And those were the nights where you're like, oh, well, I'm going to be up till 6 or 7 in the morning and, you know, go home pretty probably banged up. And most of the times I'd just there was one time I remember going home at 8:30 in the morning. And as I was waiting for the train, I saw people getting off the train going to work. And I was like, I feel like shit right now.
Yeah.
The only drugs I ever did, I never did like coke or uppers. I only smoked weed and did mushrooms and drank. So when I'd be hammered, I would just be like, I think when you're on uppers, you're able to straighten your back, even though your jaw is just fucking mowing. But you're standing up. When you're drunk and high and it's like 8:30, you're just like this fucking, you're a roly poly.
Yeah, you're a mush mush.
Yeah, and I just got on the train and I was just like, oh no.
That's the shit thing about living in New York, especially if you don't have a car, is just like if you're in that like walk of shame, like I couldn't imagine being a girl and like fucking somebody in Manhattan and then having to go out to Queens to like Ditmar Station.
Oh, dude.
It's like
the craziest thing about that is drinking when it's the near misses that result in something. Like one time we were out partying and I got on the 4 train down like near Wall Street and fell asleep and woke up in the Bronx because I was hammered, and I just woke up and I was like, oh, whoa, overshot my mark. Joe List, my favorite one of all time, Joe List, where he and I were out drinking, and we lived one stop away from each other in Queens. So I would get off the train, then he'd get off the next stop, and he was fine. He was sitting up. We were hammered, and I'm like, all right, man, night. And I leave, and this is still in the era of flip phones. And about 4:15 in the morning, I get a text where he's like, I finally got home. He fell asleep in Queens, and then the train went all the way down to Coney Island into the train yard. And he woke up and he was like, there's no seagulls in Queens. And then it was like, oh shit, I'm in Brooklyn. And then he got on a different train and fell asleep again and went up to the Bronx and then had to get another train. I was like, dude, that is the best. He did 4 out of 5 boroughs, drunkenly falling asleep.
He went to the end of
dude, it was crazy.
Oh, and then one day he shit in somebody's shoe.
That was those are same time period.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Joe could go. Guy could really go.
Good for him, dude. Morty, is there anything?
I'm going to make a tenuous segue here talking about Secure. When these guys first started blowing up, Tom York of Radiohead was clearly insecure about them because this is his quote. The fact that poor Arctic Monkeys are getting so much attention is purely based on the fact that the mainstream music business is such a bunch of fucking retards as far as I'm concerned. And then Arctic's drummer, Matt Helders, replied that he nearly fell asleep at the wheel while listening to a Radiohead album.
That's really funny.
Yeah, but you could see how.
What a perfect response.
Well, you got to remember, for any band that had more than 1 record or 2 records, these guys came out of the box with 2 singles that went to #1 prior to the record coming out. And then the record exploding without any, these guys have been working and doing shows. And 3 years ago, these guys were rapping and skateboarding.
Jesus.
Pretty much.
That's got to suck if you're Tom York and you're like, I was playing a synthesizer in a haunted mansion near a lake, and you guys were just doing kick flips and fucking spitting bars.
All right, where are we? Marby Bum, then which a great song. Perhaps Vampires is a bit strong, but let's get to When the Sun Goes Down. Because this second #1 single is about the prostitutes and pimps that hung out outside of their Neepsend rehearsal studio and the shady and possibly dangerous dudes that came around to pick them up. In my opinion, this is the best song on the record. I think this is extremely mature for 19-year-olds. New JT, play 41 seconds in.
With girls of the night, and eat so Roxanne to put on her red light. They're all infected, but he'll be alright, cause he's a
Scumbag,
scumbag.
don't you know? Just let it kick in.
I said he's a scumbag, don't you know?
I mean, I could listen to this whole song. You can kill it. It just keeps
Yeah, dude.
going. There's
That
so
song
much.
that's the song that going through this, I was like, man, this song fucking rules. When the sun goes down, it
Yeah.
was like, you know, I think the last album we did was Synchronicity with the Police, and
Yeah.
I left that liking a couple songs, but this was like, oh man, this song jams.
It really does. It's this really blows my mind that 19-year-olds were
Yeah,
mature enough to I mean lyrically, musically, everything about it. It's just starting the way they do, kicking it in, and then it just the way it just keeps building and building until the end. It's a very fucking mature song.
yeah.
It's impressive, man. It's really impressive. So I wanted to ask you this. This is kind of a two-parter because I wanted to ask this question on one of the other songs, but it's kind of, I guess it's kind of the same question. Have you ever been screwed over in the business when have you prostituted yourself?
Oh shit, man. I mean, those are all in the same fucking area. But
Exactly.
yeah, I mean, I think getting screwed over is I think getting screwed over is like how you kind of look at that, because I think if you expect certain things in this business and you don't get it, you can kind of sometimes be like, "Oh, I got screwed over." But as far as actually being like ripped off, I'm pretty sure outside of like bookers and people that have like promoters that have just severely underpaid me, there's only been one or two times where a guy's been like, "I'm going to send you a check," and then you're like, "Where's the check?" And then it takes like you and another person to be like, "Hey, I got it. Give me that fucking check."
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the whole game of prostituting yourself out. If someone's willing to pay you, you know, especially when you're starting, you don't have anything to fall back on. You don't have representation that's there to fight for you, because that's all the representation is it lends itself to validity. Like having these agents call and be like, "Hey, give him his money," because that's all we are. We're just one agent away from them being like, "I ain't gonna give you your fucking money," and you're
Yeah.
like, "But I did my sillies, and the people liked my sillies," and they're like, "Go fuck yourself." But
Yeah.
I would say the most I felt like I prostituted myself was the job that I got to stop waiting tables and just basically do comedy full time. Was in between that, I worked as a brand ambassador for Guinness. So awesome for someone that drinks, but you know, and I was drinking still at the time. But after a while, you were like, we did live shows, and the difference between doing stand up comedy and doing one of these like heavily corporate, you know, obviously well paid, but it just felt so fucking gross just being like, "Are you guys ready for more beer?" And like the whole crew that we traveled with could watch every night my soul just take a dick kicking. And I would
Yeah.
just keep drinking because I'd be like, Guinness. But it was giving me money to not have to wait tables. So I kind of knew what it was going through, but I was like the hooker with the heart of gold. You know,
Yeah.
I'm gonna top off this last John, but then all my money is going to nursing school.
Yeah. I used to do something very similar to that. I don't know if you probably had that in Arizona or in Denver. The guy that would go around with a bunch of cigarettes and then you'd have to
Hell
like,
yeah, dude.
yeah, I was the
Hell yeah. With
cigarette
camels with
slanger.
a K.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
still
yeah.
remember the certain brands.
Yeah, I
American
remember,
Spirit.
dude, the first time I met Theo Vaughn was giving him and all the other real world road rules challenge people cigarettes because they used to come to Bar Baltimore, Power Plant Live in Baltimore, and I mean, it was like they would all show up, and it's just funny. This is the funniest thing too is that anytime not anytime when I first started getting to know Theo, I'd always want to talk to him about road rules and the challenges,
Sure.
and he just wanted nothing. He wanted that part of his life just to go away. And I was
Yeah,
just like, no, but
absolutely.
I was like, tell me about when you hooked up with Tanya and like,
Yeah. He's like, no, man, what are you doing? Yeah, that's
nothing,
so
dude.
fucking. But you would give him cigarettes? You'd give him packs of cigarettes?
I'd give, dude. I was actually, I felt it was, in college, so it was very, very similar to kind of what you were doing, but at the same time, you were still working on your craft already. I was just going around giving out people fucking cigarettes.
Fuck.
Um,
Did you get free cigarettes though?
dude. I was smoking like 3 packs a day back then, bro.
That's how you got that sweet voice.
That's the money maker. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, dude. I was like, y'all want some cigarettes?
One day I'm
Good
gonna
for
go
you.
through a bunch of albums with randos, and this voice is gonna be the road that car drives on.
Yeah, dude. Highway 69. You
To
know what's
quote
up.
the great audio slave, I am the
I
highway.
am the highway. Go and save yourself. But blame it all on me. All right. From Ritz to Rubble. This fucking slaps, dude. This time Alex tries to get into a club but gets humiliatingly turned away by a couple aggressive bouncers looking for a fight. Despite a few more various attempts to enter, he eventually makes peace with it and ends up hooking up with another girl in his frustrated and delicate state. Do we want to hear it?
What's funny about all these songs is they all tend to be the same, where it's like, this guy's having a bad night, but then he gets into the dance club and gets laid, and everything's okay. And
I
he's
mean,
like,
they must have fucked a lot. British
are you
people?
kidding me? That much? I mean, dude, he was that foreskin was getting pulled back just constantly when that album came out.
All of them had foreskin.
Yeah,
No,
dude.
nobody had a
That's
sheath penis.
that's a thick trunk bunch, dude. A bunch of guys with Shar-Pei necks around their dicks.
I didn't even think, you forget once you get out of America.
Oh yeah,
You
dude.
gotta pull it back.
You gotta pull that back, baby. That was the first name of their first tour, was Pull It Back Tour. He's like, I don't know. All these birds just keep coming up to me and floating at me.
It's like, are you ready for Bad Company and Fleetwood Mac, the Pull It Back tour?
Yeah,
You
through
know,
the
you know
UK.
you baby gotta pull it back, pull it back. What's the worst you've ever been turned down?
Oh shit, man. So many options to talk about. The one that hurt the most was when I was in college. It was just the most public humiliating, and I asked this girl out in my study group, and she had an Ohio accent in the middle of the, like, everyone's coming out of their classes, and I was just like, hey, would you maybe want to go get dinner on Friday or something? She goes, Dan, I have a boyfriend. And I was like, yeah. You're standing outside and you're just like, oh, cool.
Okay,
Anyways, I heard we got a big game against State this weekend.
Dan, I
That
have.
a boyfriend. And it was just like, okay, I'm sorry. My bad.
I've
My
been to
bad.
Ohio. I'm going back to Ohio with Jay this weekend. I've been to
Oh, yeah, you guys go to
Ohio.
Columbus.
Yeah, I don't hate it, but it's like I always look at Ohio as shittier Pennsylvania.
Nah, man, Ohio rules.
Really?
Ohio and Pennsylvania are just like twins.
You're
They're
trying to
very
protect your
similar.
market right now. That's why.
I go, and also don't forget you can check me out in Cleveland coming up in June. Hey, Josh, can I talk to you off mic real quick? What the fuck you doing, dude? You're fucking sabotaging me out of this bunch of markets.
I'm at the Funny Bone.
You think I like going to Ohio? You think I like going to Pennsylvania? You think I don't like staying on our sweet coasts? I'm kidding. I love Ohio and Pennsylvania. Gas station food, baby. Any place where their gas station food is good, I feel at home.
Okay, I dig that. Morty, you got anything to add about this?
This is Alex's attempt to emulate the influence of 70s punk performance poet John Cooper Clarke. And this and Fake Tales of San Francisco were on that self-released EP, 5 Minutes with Arctic Monkeys. That was the 2-song set that came out before the record deal.
Wait, is John Cooper Clarke that does that song, The Bloody Hits, The Bloody Bends, The Bloody Bends, The Bloody, remember it was in, hold on, dude. Hold on.
He wasn't a singer. He was like a
dude,
poet.
I'm almost, did everybody watch Sopranos?
Yeah.
I'm right. It's John Cooper Clarke. This one. Hold on. There it is. You don't remember this? This is
Right,
final season of fucking Sopranos, and it's the song. It's just the song, and I remember it. And then the funny thing was, my sister met this guy in fucking England a few years. Like, he was sitting at a table, and the kids were like visiting, and he was there, and he was like staring at him. And then they started talking to him, and I don't know. It's not really that point.
He's an interesting looking guy.
What I'm saying, but
he looked like
I just
Bob
wanted to
Dylan.
play that song.
Yeah, he looked like Bob Dylan back in the day. Really cool, like a polka dot shirt and big hair and like sunglasses, and he would perform with punk bands. So that's what that was.
Hey, look at this dude. Can you guys see?
Yeah,
Oh
that's
yeah,
him
dude.
more now. But I remember reading about him in like the early '80s, and he was like, I mean, there's not a lot of punk, Jim Carroll, a couple of those guys, but he was like the punk poet of England, and everybody
Yeah.
took to him. But when you hear that, you can absolutely hear Alex Turner, and he's 19, so think of the shit you got into at that age where you were like, does anybody know J.D. Salinger? Have you read
Yeah.
this fucking thing? Like.
Yeah, they're super jacked on certain ideology.
Yeah,
Just like,
there's
I
nobody
love
knows.
this. I just learned this.
Yeah, nobody knows this.
Yeah, I found this.
Yeah.
All right, final song, A Certain Romance. It's great. It's a fun way to end the record. Morty, let's get to some facts, bro. Bring us with the facts.
Yeah, okay. So the album's title was taken from a line from the influential 1958 novel Saturday Night and Sunday Morning, written by Alan Sillitoe. It's his first book about Arthur Seton, a 21-year-old charismatic but amoral working class fella who goes out and drinks and shags and fantasizes about a better life. Alex Turner felt the obvious similarities between that book and this album. And by the way, Morrissey was another huge fan of the book and the subsequent film and play. And you can hear about that in a lot of, Smith songs.
But one of the big differences is that Morrissey fucked men. So
allegedly.
He's pissed right
It's
now at The
all
Simpsons.
legend.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they did a whole episode called Panic on the Streets of Springfield where Lisa gets into, she's trying to find music she likes. She hates everything, but she starts falling in love with like the British, like the Smiths and things like that. And so she starts having this imaginary character that is Morrissey, but he's named something different and it looks just like him. And then she goes to see the real Morrissey play and he's like racist and something else. It's a whole thing. So he put out a statement, Dan, basically being like, Simpsons has lost its way. It's not funny. It's not good satire. It's not like Saturday Night Live, which is killing it right now. And I was like, oh, Morrissey. Oh, poor Morrissey.
You sad man. You are so wrong.
Nothing about comedy, bro. Nothing.
Yeah.
Just throw your flowers.
He's like,
shut the
actually,
fuck up."
honestly, I really enjoyed that Sarah Cooper special, but everything beyond that was just pure shit. And
I'm
you're
telling
like,
you, Black Mitzvah is the greatest special
It's-
to come out
don't
in years.
come at me right now. I'll tell you right. There's some. Yeah, dude, that's fucking
Are
woof.
you guys both really
know.
shocked that Morrissey has a has a
No, not at
sense
all.
of humor?
Yeah,
Like,
you're absolutely
he didn't
right.
Get that joke? It's Morrissey.
If he would have
know.
gotten it, I would have been like, oh wow, Morrissey's fucking fun.
He's hip.
Morrissey gets it.
We have a Smiths record coming out coming up. What is it? Morty, God Save the Queen.
It's louder than bombs. It's a compilation of all their singles.
It's like three discs, right?
It's
I
it's a
I
double
listened to
record.
it all the way through because I'm in one sitting. I listened to it all the way through. It's actually the first Smiths record.
I've already broke it down
really
to the
liked.
13 songs we're going to use. So yeah,
I know. Well,
another northern.
I should.
Yeah.
I need to also go. Let's talk. If there might be let's compare lists. All right. So Dan, while we're doing that, or talking about it, so artistically, who's your biggest inspiration?
Oh, I mean, yeah, I think comedy wise, inspiration. It's you get so many of them that you actually have to start ignoring them, or you're gonna start sounding like it. But I've brought him up several times, and I've talked about it at length before. But I'd say Josh Homme is one of my favorite people to listen to his creation process, because I think he has a very humble and awesome approach to how he makes music. And I think that's a fun thing to try to, be inspired by, if not emulate. But I kind of like people that respect what they're making and like what they're making, and don't make too big of a deal out of it, and just kind of hope that the product speaks for itself. And I've always felt like that about Queens of the Stone Age.
Dude, such a good band. I got into him second record, so early on.
Yeah, so you got into Rated R, which
I'll never forget the first time I heard "Whatever You Do."
Yeah,
I saw the video for that.
Yeah,
and I've been a fan ever since. I think that's one of the coolest things. Is I went with Bill when he opened for them at the Wilbur.
Crazy. That was one of the most two of my favorite things in one place, where I was like, man, Bill Burr's opening for Queens of the Stone Age. I would pay high dollar for that ticket.
Yeah. Yeah, he killed it. He's gonna say that he didn't do well, but he fucking killed it. It's like that's a hard set because nobody's
Yeah, dude.
expecting comedy and
Well, we know that when we talked to Jay about when he opened for Zombie and like, when he would open for Korn, it's like, dude, that's fucking outside trying to get
Yeah.
people to listen to your comedy. Fuck that.
dude.
I would honestly, when I saw that Bill Burr was opening for Queens of the Stone Age, there wasn't any jealousy of like, I wish I could be on that show. I was like, I just want to watch that show. I don't want
Yeah.
any of that pressure.
It was
I want to enjoy that shit.
It was the shit, dude. It's the shit. It's also the shit be able to see a band so up close and side stage, and that's the
Sure.
best shit about doing festivals. Like I'm hoping
Yeah.
we can start going back and doing like Bonnaroo. Yeah, we were at Bonnaroo together.
Yeah,
You did
both
it-
2
you-
years,
Two, yeah,
2015 and 2016.
well, I did the 16 year with you, and that was when we saw.
Yeah,
LCD
that was the
Sound
year you guys
System.
came out there and I
Yeah,
hung
yeah,
out. Yeah.
dude.
That was the first time we really hung out, and that was the first time I ever did MDMA, and it was for LCD Sound System.
I remember.
Yeah, and I was standing right next to you, and I was like, "This shit is awesome." And
I
you're
love
like,
you, Josh. I love you.
I was like,
Here,
"Dude, I
hold
got
me.
shit pouring out of me." That was fucking incredible. I was like, "Man, I did a show that night, and I just apologized to all the club kids I ever made fun of." I was like, "I get it. I fucking get it. I get
Yeah.
why you wear wings. I get why you put glitter in your tits. I get it all."
That was actually the first because I had just gotten off of opiates May 17th, 2016. And that was like, I was really nervous about going to that festival and not being on drugs. And I
Yeah.
had so much fun being sober and like being like, it was just, it was, to be honest with you, I don't know if I would have stayed sober if I didn't have that weekend at Bonnaroo where you have fun.
Yeah.
Sober, it's because you're just like, oh no, there's no way I'm gonna have fun in life if I'm not on painkillers, and then you do, and you're like, yeah, I don't need this shit.
Sure. Yeah, that's absolutely. It's just a mental mind frame.
Mental
Fucking
mind
change
frame.
it up.
All right, Morty. All right, go ahead.
Okay,
Hold on,
great.
let's take it again. All right,
So
Morty,
the
what's
cover
next?
of the album is a picture of their friend Chris McClure of the local band, the Violet May, who they got wasted so he would represent sort of what the album was about. And
That's
he's
awesome.
smoking a cigarette on the cover, and that got criticized by the Scotland's National Health Service for glorifying smoking. The band disagreed by saying, well, you can see from the image, smoke is not doing him a world of good.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
Which I thought was just a great,
He
just
looks
a
like
great.
dick.
Like, look at him. He's a
He's a
poster
schlub.
boy for not.
Total schlub.
Dude,
Total schlub.
That's so great. Yeah, he's just fucking.
By
you
the
could tell
way,
he's hammered.
he got wasted, and they didn't think he was wasted enough at one point, I believe, and they made him go out and get more wasted. And apparently, he puked, and they have photos of that also.
You know
Oh,
what's
great?
dude? So this is another fact, Dan, from a different album we did, but the Leonard Skinnard cover.
Yeah.
Didn't like that. There's Morty. What is it?
I
The
forgot
guy,
who
like,
it
threw
was.
up?
They took the picture, the cover of the back cover of pronounced Leonard Skinnard. The back cover, I forget who it was, but they took the picture of them like standing on the street, like outside the studio. And right after they took it, like the bass player like just goes, oh, it just throws up on the street.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
I thought it was just
Dude, that must have been so damn fun to be in the music business. You just get fucking tanked.
This bullshit
During the
comedy
day.
thing we're doing. All right, Morty. What else? you got?
This one I love. At their elementary school, remember, like 3 of the guys went to like school together, 2 or 3 of them went to school. So at their elementary school graduation ceremony, Alex, Matt, and some friends mimed a performance to Oasis's Morning Glory, with Matt lip syncing for Liam and Alex playing bass on a tennis racket. I want to remind you, Alex was born in '86.
That's hilarious.
Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
I thought that was adorable.
That is fucking adorable.
Morty,
Them doing Wonderwall, and then and then they get the biggest album, and that band's like, "Fuck them, they suck."
Yeah, exactly.
But the Oasis guys are like, even though they're kind of like, I'm not going to call them a joke at all now. It's just, there's something about both of those guys that I fucking love, dude. Like I like their music, but I love like the way that Liam tweets. It's just great.
Just like talking shit.
Just talking shit, dude. I mean, like Jim Jeffrey said, he's uncancelable.
Yeah.
And he'll say the most obnoxious shit. He'll
Dude, he'll just say shit to be like, "What are you going to do about it?" And they're like,
Exactly.
"Nothing."
And they'll fight.
And he's like, "Yeah."
He
I would
said
love to
something.
see that. I would love to see who could win in a fight between like the British rock stars. First of all, Morrissey's getting his ass kicked. Watch him know like Krav Maga.
Yeah,
Like,
or just deep level jujitsu and can fucking wrap him up and choke him out.
This is Ty Lover, though, isn't it? Yeah, that's like.
Yeah.
All right, what else, Morty?
Okay, I got couple more. So
all right.
not only is this the fastest selling debut album in the UK, which got them into the Guinness Book of World Records, but it sold more copies on its first day alone than the rest of the top 20 albums combined, and
Damn.
sold more in a week than in a year in the US.
I believe it.
So
I believe
another
it.
reason you don't really know about
Yeah.
them is in America it's sort of stiffed. I mean,
Well,
comparable.
you know,
Damn.
they needed that. They needed that one song that everybody could dance to. And do you want? Is it? Do you want to know? Is that the one? Or
Yeah.
the big
Off AM.
Oh, off the
so
yeah.
that one transcended the style of music that you like. Because when I DJ'd at the strip club, I would play that for black chicks, I'd play it for Latina
Yeah.
chicks, I'd play it for white chicks. Everybody liked that. Nothing on this record, like we mentioned earlier, is something that I could see, like, you know, like a black stripper being like, "Yo, put on that marbly bum." You know?
Put on Fake Tales of San Francisco. I'm gonna make this shit work.
Yo, watch me make my ass clap to red light indicates the doors are
Like,
closed. Clap, clap,
Popped.
clap,
I don't
clap.
know. It was. I got 2 songs. One of them was Juvenile's "Back That Ass Up," and the other one was this fast British song. So I don't know what happened.
All right,
I
what's
mean,
the
you
last
know
one,
this from
Morty?
radio,
Wait.
though. I'd say the thing is, a lot of these British bands, a couple albums in, like Muse did that same thing with that like slow disco. What was that? Not Hysteria. What was that song with the falsetto? And it was like the.
That's every song of theirs. And
No,
it's
but they
every
start
song
off
sounds
in
like
weird and-
Rachmaninoff and fucking
Yeah, they
Bach.
started off like Bohemian Rhapsody, and then by the time they got a few albums in, they were like, well, no, we'd also like to connect in America. You know, I think that's a big thing. So finally, this shows you absolutely how huge they were. They performed "I Bet You Look Good" on the dance floor at the opening ceremonies of the 2012 Summer Olympics in London.
Huge.
Yeah,
That's
they
huge.
pretty much, you're representing your country in your country. I think that's pretty, like we have like Whitney Houston doing it here, and that's how big they were. That's 6 years after this album came out.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
pretty huge.
What was your most epic gig, Dan?
Like the biggest one I've done is probably like the most people. One time they had me. It was like for a Comedy Central gig in Central Park, Stars Under the Stars, and they originally were going to have me like do warm up, and then I was going to bring on Gabriel Iglesias, who was hosting the whole thing. But then Gabriel Iglesias was like, no. My boy goes on first. He's like the best warm up guy ever. And I was like, fuck yes. Because you didn't want to go
Yes.
cold.
Oh my God.
And they were saying it like I might be like, no, I'm going to go first. And so they were like, so he's going to go up and he's going to get him crazy. Then he'll bring him up. And I was like, dude, this is the best case scenario. I went to the gig planning to bomb in front of 5,000 people outside. And then he went up and then he brought me up and I had a fun set. It was like still light out, but it was fun.
Yeah.
I was like, this is amazing. And that was probably the biggest crowd I've performed, easily the biggest crowd I've performed in front of.
I don't know if you've ever found this out, but we've talked about it. But I went to go see the Jokers do Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
And we're side stage, and you know, I'm with Big J and Christine and Isabella, and they have some of their warm-up people go up, like, you know, Jiggy and some other guys, and the crowd's not really into it. And then Colin Jost goes up, and he's getting, you know, some laughter, but the people are there to see the Jokers. And you know how their fans are because you've done the cruise.
Sure. And then Jay and I did their Christmas show.
You did? Okay. But I'm not saying like the fans aren't good. It's just like they're really excited to see the Jokers.
Yeah, they don't care about you.
This is a very unexpected, epic gig. But I remember fucking Sal looks at me because Syph is up there playing music, and he looks at me and he goes, "Hey Josh, why don't you go up there and just, you know, dick around with the audience for a few minutes?" And I was like, "Are you serious?" And he's like, "Go ahead." And then I just like look at Jeremiah Watkins and I'm like, "You want to go?" And we run up there, 16,000 people, and we're just like doing like the musical crowd work shit that I do for the goddamn comedy jam. And fucking, it's the time of my life. It was like, it slowed down. I remember it's like, as you get up on stage, I'm like, "Jeremiah, let's go." And his face is like pale white. And it's just, we ran up there and probably up there for like 6-7 minutes. Just like, I jumped into the audience and started like singing like Genuine's Pony to somebody. I mean, it's like hack shit, but like, dude, in front of 16,000 people,
It's crazy. Fucking
insane.
crazy.
And what's
Yeah,
great
dude.
is
That's
because I
nuts.
didn't is what's so great is that because it's not like he booked me ahead of time. I had no time to think about getting nervous. Do you know what I mean? It was literally like,
Yeah.
"Hey, go up there right now." Really? All right. Because if he would
Yeah,
have
you're
told
like,
me that earlier in the day, I would have been like the whole day. I would have been like,
yeah, you'd have been
"Eh."
locked up the whole time.
Yeah, it was fucking incredible.
Fuck,
That's probably
that's
the
yeah,
biggest
that's
crowd I've ever had. All right, let's do rapid questions and we'll get you out of here. All right, favorite song on the record?
well, I would say Fake Tales of San Francisco, but I think that has been clearly usurped right now by When the Sun Goes Down.
Nice. Least favorite song on the record?
Still Take You Home. I know that sounds weird. I just didn't.
There's no right or wrong answers. It's
I know.
this is the Soder feelings.
Still
from
Take
the
You
heart.
Home really didn't do much for me.
Okay. What song on this record would you fuck to?
Oh, there's a couple of them. Just are we talking hard slams, a little hard
I
shag?
mean, how do you fuck,
but
dude? Yeah, this is basically going to be very revealing about how you hump
a certain romance, maybe. When the Sun Goes Down would be good.
because it
That would
starts
work
off
out
slow
well.
and you're like,
Yeah.
and then you're a scumbag, don't you? Gang, 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 gang,
You want to get food?
gang, 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 gang.
Let's get. I'm hungry.
All right. And final question: does this deserve to be on the 500 greatest albums list? And is it ranked accordingly?
Ranked accordingly, I can't really answer. However, after everything Morty has taught me about the album and listening to it as much as I did, I would say it absolutely deserves to be on this list. Coming into this podcast, I was like, no, AM deserves to be on this list, but I didn't realize what it did in the UK. I didn't realize how it kind of set them up for their whole career. So yeah, this album is very important for the Arctic Monkeys in their entire career. So yeah, I agree. It should be on the list.
I think this influenced so many younger bands in England. It's, you don't get to AM without this record. What I love about the band is that they keep changing their sound. Like, dude, do yourself a favor and watch early performances of them because they are kids, dude. Acne, fucking young, barely talking to the audience, and then watch some of the newer shit where he's worked with Josh and his hair is like kind of like fucking like
Bouffant
greaser style. Yeah, it's impressive to see how they've been growing. Wouldn't you agree,
Yeah.
Morty?
Oh, absolutely. They're I mean, they're one of those bands that even then I have, having looked back on it after doing the show, working on it, I was going, okay, so they were like, into hip hop, whatever, and they just got guitars and instruments like a few years before. And I thought that shows you really, I mean, what must have gone into that to be like, we're like listening to like, whatever over here, like just hip Jay-Z or whatever was out. And then all of a sudden it was like the Strokes, like, wait a minute. And by the way, Alex's dad was a musician. So there was stuff around.
Yeah. Okay. There's musical talent.
I also, not to cut this off, I remember when I was in England, I forgot to fucking mention this. There was a conspiracy theory that the Arctic Monkeys were ghost written by a band called Reverend and the Makers. I remember at a pub, these people kept telling me this, and they were like, this girl that like knew a lot about them. I think she knew them or something, but there is a conspiracy out there, and I looked for it, and I found a few things about it. But think about it, man. 19-year-old kids, can you write a record this mature, especially when you just picked up guitars not too long ago?
Yeah, I don't know. Musically, I mean, lyrically, if you listen to a lot of hip hop, I mean, he's talking to us. It also sounds real. There's a lot of shit going on here through the Sheffield sort of, dialect, but it's like a kid talking about like, really, it's kind of rappy. I mean, it doesn't sound like it when you look at it, but when you take it apart and see how many words per bar he's like, it's like, holy fuck, this guy is like ripping. And then you look at it and you're like, and he's really just going like, you look like a guy from 1984, which by the way, I take as totally offensive as an insult.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, you look like me when I was 38. Like, wow, I'm kind of, but I just, it could happen. You put 2-3 solid years, and they didn't put the band together and then get signed. They had a couple years in between, put the band together, played together a year later, and then a year after did gigs. So you're diligent, man, you could do it.
So let all the Fleece Army know you can do this.
Yeah.
You can be the biggest band in England
during
You
quarantine.
can absolutely do this.
Just to write songs about drinking and make all your lyrics like, I'm living as one man and one man is scary. The whole man is something
An old man is
totalitarian.
in, and then I'm back on dinner. I'm asleep on the couch, and then I'm back at 8.
All right, Dan, what do you got to promote? Go ahead.
Live dates going back on the road, Indy, Buffalo, dansoder.com, and listen to The Bonfire Monday through Thursday, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern on Faction Talk, Sirius XM 103.
Nice. Morty.
That was too perfect. I'm going to be like all stumbling now. DJ Morty Coyle on Twitter. If you're on Clubhouse, find me on there. A lot of our guests are, and it's actually a lot of fun. Go check out B and Daddy Cartoons to hear a lot of some of the songs we do on this show on Instagram. And then I want to give a shout out to on Twitter, Capagna, I believe it's Kapagna. They go by Paggy, but they've been a big supporter of the show as a Fleece Army member. So we just want to give a shout out and thank you very much for always writing about us and putting questions out there.
I love you, Kapangi. I love you. Dan, this was great.
Thanks for having me, buddy.
Of course.